I knew that my happiness came from being on stage. I knew my happiness came from making other people happy.
You don't understand what you've done to somebody to make you realize and recognize who the f you is.
I feel like people are using my music as therapy and or my art as an escape to get away. I'm serving my purpose.
What's your definition of fame?
It's taken me years to get the 94,000 followers that I have on Instagram. I never paid for bots, so I am my biggest critic and my biggest competition.
How did you venture into movies and things like that, being a dancer?
I'm supposed to be doing the Choliseo in Puerto Rico, and he was like, I need like dancers. He had seen what I was doing with my burlesque productions, and he was like,
I'm your boy Tank Sinatra, a.k.a. Taino Domingo, a.k.a. call me anything but late for dinner because I love to eat and I don't even care what you say about me. How about that? You feel me? As always, I got the activation king to the left of me, my brother, Dren Star. Talk to the people.
What's going on? We in the Duce Lounge. We fully activated. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to our sponsor, Duce, of course. You know what I'm saying? If I do say so myself. You see the fit. Rock Nation, Paper Planes, y'all niggas know what it is. But we got another good one, you know what I'm saying? Everything we do over here is exclusive. So I'm going to keep saying it. Don't hit me up. Let me hit you up, and we're going to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Duce Lounge.
I just need you to be like, don't hit him up neither. But we're going to leave it.
I mean, don't hit him up because he's going to curb you anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Let's get to it, brother.
There's a certain magic that walks into the room when she steps on the stage. A presence, a power, a passion that has been forged through years of hustle, heart, and heritage. A vocalist who sung alongside legends like Romeo Santos and Don Omar. A dancer whose footwork carries the rhythm of her Puerto Rican roots. An actress who can light up a scene with nothing more than a glance. She got a glance, y'all. She's been doing this for over 15 years. Not just surviving in the game, but owning every stage that she touched. Raised in Newark, but soulfully connected to the island, she found her rhythm in the streets, in the studio, and in the summers spent surrounded by her culture. It was there she fell in love with the music and the movement. Her talent is not by accident. It's the result of dedication, discipline, and divine timing. Whether she's dancing in Europe or singing at Madison Square Garden, she's never forgotten where she came from or why she started. She likes it, y'all. She's taken the stage at Lincoln Center, the Barclays, and lent her voice to icons like Sergio George, Olga Tañón, and Tito Nieves. She's been on films, on international tours, and even brought the heat to London's Magic of Salsa Kingdom. And if that wasn't enough, she's creating her own lane too, producing boundary-pushing shows like Fibre, blending burlesque and Boricua brilliance into something unforgettable. With the self-titled debut album dropping October 2024 and landing straight at #1 on iTunes Latino albums, she's only just getting started. The voice is still rising, the message is still deep, and the mission is still going. She's not just representing herself, she's carrying little girls with a dream and the guts to chase it. She's paving a legacy, one note, one dance, one story at a time. She is Grizel Del Valle, better known as La Chachi. Bang dame.
bro,
Bang dame.
I need that.
Bang dame.
I need that. That was so beautiful.
Bang dame. What we said before the show, Papito. What we said before the show, Papito.
Listen. I knew that my happiness came from being on stage. I knew
Huh?
it.
Hey. Demon.
Thank you. You know what? When you put it like that, damn, I'm kind of cool.
Yeah. You been out in these streets.
Yes, working hard,
Look,
representing my people.
The beautiful thing, right? Because honestly, we here to pay homage to our the people that come to our show. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't understand what you've done till somebody puts a mirror in front of you. So my monologues is like mirrors to our guests to make you realize and recognize who the fuck you is.
Thank you.
Excuse my vulgarity. Not really. But
I understand.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're dope, queen.
Thank
know what
you,
I'm
and
saying?
thank you for seeing me.
And with that being said, you know, I always like to take it to the top with people's upbringings. I should have. Well, you're a female. I can't search you because you're from Newark.
I might cut
You
you.
understand? Exactly. I don't know what you got in that bag, but you from Newark. We should have did a metal detector check before your ass walked in the studio.
In the bag. No.
You understand what I'm saying? But
I
yeah.
have one of those jokes where it's like in my bag, got a razor blade right here, Papa. Like,
Beat
heard
that.
you. No, I'm
Beat
joking,
that.
I'm joking.
You see what I'm saying?
The fact that she
Puerto
even
Rican
knows
and
that
from
is
Newark.
wild.
Listen, Puerto Rican and from Newark, and she about 5'2", nigga.
5'3".
My
With
bad.
the bun. That's
See
why
what
I
I'm
put
saying?
it up there. It's my
always
crown.
a toxic trait where anything is that short. But with that being said, all jokes aside, Queen, get the people a background check on how you grew up and everything, your evolution when you was a child.
Yeah, so I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, with a family that loved music, a family that loved house parties, a family that loved sports, competitive things like beauty pageants and stuff. And my mother raised me by herself with the help of my grandmother and my godmother. And I always say that those three women have been my pillars in, the molding and the evolution of what I've become, right? Because they kept me grounded. They still keep me grounded. They put me in anything and everything that you could have possibly thought of in order for me to not have enough time on the streets. Like, they wanted me entertained. So I was a baton twirler. I played softball varsity for 4 years, but I played for 8 years total. I played the trumpet. I was in the choir. I was in beauty pageants. I like, what didn't I do? And so they made sure, they used to make us compete within ourselves, like our cousins, like talent shows, like who's the best dancer, who's the best like performer, interviews, like fake interviews, like, okay, what's your talent? Talk to us. And we would have to walk up to the table of judges and kind of like, it was like 7 of us. And we would like, I was always Marimar, Thalia, or Olga Tañón, or Gloria Trevi. A mí me gusta andar de pelo suelto. Like, little as hell, 7, 6, 5.
You still little as hell.
I know,
man.
shut up. But we ain't gonna talk about my height. I'm tall in spirit. That's what matters, okay? I'm tall in spirit. No, so they loved like putting us on the spot. And believe it or not, I was the baby of the family. And so I grew up around, like, my cousins were all way older than me, like 4 or 5 years older than me. I was like the baby. And I was also the baby cry of the family, right? Because I was la nena, right? And so apparently my cousin's alibi and what they say is that I would always win the competitions and the talent shows and stuff because the judges knew that I was going to be a crybaby about losing.
You look like a spoiled brat.
But let's be honest, who's the entertainer now? Who's the one freaking gracing these stages? Who's the one with the mad talent? Who's the one all over the world? Not saying that my cousins aren't great in their own,
I feel like I got a snap.
No, but right,
After
like
you said all that.
No, but I'm like, yes, I was the baby cry, but there was something there, and they didn't know that they were planting seeds, and they were doing something for the grown-up Chachi now to be comfortable, and be comfortable when I'm put on the spot, and be comfortable when I have to speak in public, and be comfortable with my skin and who I am as a person, as a woman. So they didn't know what they were doing for me, but it's to my advantage, and so I grew up in that house full of love, full of music, full of talent, and like dope, genuine competition. I remember they used to do dance battles, and now that I look at it, I'm like, it was to tire us out. Y'all wanted us to take a nap,
take your ass
and go the fuck to sleep. Like y'all but they used to give like they used to be like, all right,
melatonin back in the days.
Yeah, they used to put a song and be like, all right, let's see who dances it the best, and then they were judging, and then you would get like 50 cents for dancing it the best, and then they put another song, and it's like, okay, so we were the kids that when we would go to these parties of adults, we weren't running around, we weren't jumping and going crazy, we were literally on the dance floor, and then we were sleeping by the coats and by the speakers, but we were like we behaved. We was partying with the adults. So growing up in that type of environment, like obviously, like I said, definitely planted the seeds, and I take them with me everywhere I go, and I take Newark with me also everywhere I go, because I'm not a privileged person where I come from money and like granddaddy money and or that
Silver
kind of
spoon.
lifestyle. No, so I remember walking to school and seeing prostitutes. I remember walking to school and seeing, drug dealers and or gangs and or violence and or stolen cars on the block and or shootouts on the block. It's unfortunate, but it is part of my story. And as educated as I am or became, right? Like, I also have that street smart, and that's something that Newark gave me, and I like that, because I'm not like, like, like in my own little world, even though at times I can be, but I know when I'm in my own little world, I have to be in a safe environment. I know that the moment I step out my house, it's like another persona that comes, like it's somebody who's aware of her surroundings. Like when I go into a club, I'm aware of my exits. I look at everything. And I feel like Newark gave me that. So I don't take it as an insult when people are like, oh, she's from Brick City, or she's, nah, to me, I take that shit. Like, that's with me. I got the key to my city. I'm dope in my city. I keep repping for my city, and I love it. I mean, it's evolved and it's come a long way, but it's also has had a lot of influence on who I am, So, and Brick City is, it's molded me because, for example, I was Latina all the way through high school. And then when I got to high school, I went to a school of the arts. Unfortunately, this school was the type of school where you could only have one major. So I'm coming in there on some auditioning for trumpet, acting, dance, vocal, TV production, and I wasn't going to do TV production. And the reason I did it was because my guidance counselor in elementary school was like, Grizel, you do everything already. Like, the only thing you haven't done is TV production and communications. She was like, so why don't you try to, like, put that under your belt, too? And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, I think you could write a commercial, and I think you're great in front of a camera. I think you could do it. So I auditioned for everything that I just told you, and I only got one letter of acceptance, and it was for TV and communications. Mm-hmm. I didn't find out until my junior year that I got accepted as a vocal major. And I was like, oh, I was low key heartbroken, because I'm a vocalist, and if I would have had the opportunity, that's the one I would have chosen. But I guess they knew what they were doing, and God knew what He was doing, and He was like, no, there's only 16 people coming into this TV class, and I need you in that. I need you in one of those seats. And I'm grateful that I did that, because, again, it's made me comfortable in front of the camera. I know how to edit. I know how to color correct. If I have to interview somebody, I know how to do that. If I have to speak in front of the camera, I know how to do that. So it kind of like really molded me and like did its thing. So Arts High is a school where you have people like Savion Glover, Tisha Campbell, Frankie Negron, Michael B. Jordan, me, Grizel Del Valle.
Talking shit.
Yes.
Talking
so
shit.
we come from this beautiful school that it was a school where, yes, you had to be talented, but you had to have a certain academic GPA. Like, you couldn't be there with, crazy grades. So they challenged us to, like, no, you're going to take everything serious. You're not just going to take the art serious and not the school stuff. And so that's something else that molded me, because it made me work hard. I remember I almost failed a class one time, and I was like, oh my God, my world's going to end. But it showed me the responsibility of, like, in the real life, you have responsibilities, and you have to, like, when you sign up for something or you give your word or you sign a contract, you have to deliver. And it can't be like, oh, I'm going through something and I can't. Like, no, you have to, anything you put your name on and or say I'm going to do, or, you're part of a cast or a company or a production company, you have to, like, the show has to go on. You have to deliver. And so I feel like that school put a lot of, like, fire on our asses. Like, y'all going to be great in everything y'all do. Y'all not going to half-ass anything. And so it definitely molded me there. In high school, I started dancing professionally. My junior year, for my Sweet 16, my mom hired a choreographer to do a choreography for my court for the Sweet 16. And I fell in love with salsa mambo on 2 New York style. And the young lady who actually choreographed it for us. Ironically, her name is Grizel too. And she was like, hey, I think you should come to my classes and like really just start training with us and see where it goes from there. And I was like, okay, because I felt so hungry for dance. That dance was like literally my first passion and love. And within a year, I was traveling all over the world. By 17, I was already international with a passport, dancing in salsa congresses in London, Germany, Czech Republic, Australia. Like literally, yes, we did Dominican Republic, we did Puerto Rico, but all over the nation as well. Montreal, Canada, LA, Chicago, Florida. So it was like a new world to me. And that taught me about the cattiness in the business. I'm gonna take a sip of something right there.
These goddamn women.
That was a lot.
Yo.
But that's the molding, and that's how that little clay Chachi, was molded into like, okay, this is, I got so many seeds planted that it was just a matter of time. Like, what do I really want to do in life? What do I really want to dedicate the rest of my life to? And I, people say all the time, like, if you love what you do as a job, it's not really a job because you love what you do and you're going to do it great. And so I knew that I wasn't happy at a 9-to-5 in an office, behind a desk. I knew that my happiness came from being on stage. I knew my happiness came from making other people happy. And it's something that I'm just like, yeah, this is why God gave me all the talents that he gave me. And I'm supposed to be doing this.
Fire. So while you doing the while your family is doing all these showcases in the house, right? Do you have any influences, or you just like, all right, I'm like Edie Chacon, or who was somebody that you looked at while you was doing these showcases? Like, I'm about to bust your ass. I'm about to. Cause me. Like, we had Tony Sunshine on our podcast, and he was like, yo, I got a go-to song if somebody want to battle me. Me, if I sing this particular R. Kelly song, it's over. So, with that being said, was there somebody that you looked up to and was like, I'm going to do this shit, and you motherfuckers is over?
Yeah, it was Olga Tañón.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I remember being like 9, and my aunt was a super fan of her. Ironically, the aunt that named me Chachi. Because from Grizel to Chachi is a long way.
Yeah, we get into that.
Yeah.
We get into that. We get into that.
It's a long walk.
We get into that.
So Olga Tañón was one of my mom and my aunt's favorite. And I still remember like the album cover. I remember it was a CD, a cassette actually, and then CDs.
You sure it wasn't Betamax?
No, I'm not that old, fool. No, but it was Olga Tañón, and it was seeing her on things like Don Francisco on Saturday nights, and seeing her at places like Premio Lo Nuestro, and it was just so euphoric what I would feel whenever I would see this lady on stage. And I do believe in manifesting. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we're friends today, and that she's invited me on stage twice, and that she literally pushed me to do my album. Like, it was her who pushed me to do my album in 2019. And I was like, well, it's funny. I already started recording a couple songs. And she was like, you really need to do this because there's a lot of people in your place that shouldn't be there. And what are you doing? And I was just like, I don't come from the world of knowing that side of the business when it came to production, mixing and mastering, labels. I mean, today in this day and age, it's a little easier than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. But I was always talented, and that I knew. I mean, anybody could be talented with autotune.
Real shit.
But I could hold a tune in real life, a cappella. I don't need a piano. I could sing you a whole song on key. It's very rare that I go pitchy unless I'm drinking, but I'm not drinking when I sing. So like it kind of like, I come from a different school, and so back to the manifesting and the Olga, she was really, aside from Celia Cruz, because that's my mom's favorite, and I loved Celia. I loved salsa since I was little. I didn't understand why I loved that style of music so much because I wasn't raised with my father, right? Until years later, I meet my father and I'm like, oh, I understand. He is like a salsa connoisseurist. Like he is in it to win it. He knows this guy, that guy, from like back in the day to now, to the best soneros, to this. Like
He got the crates of the salsa.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So my mom loved the music, and I thought she loved it because of the dancing and stuff, and I thought I loved it because of that. But as I met my father and I started to see all his characteristics that resembled and resonated in me, I was like, oh, now I understand why this is like a high for me. Like salsa music is a high for me, and I don't think people understand that. So Celia was in a realm of her own, right? But Olga was the person that made me, and mark my words, I know I'm going to play her in a movie one day. I know it. But she was the person who made me feel like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be her. That's how sure I was of it. Like, I'm going to be her. Like, and then years later, 16 years old, ironically, Grizel, the same girl that got me into the whole dance thing, took me to see Olga at the Apollo Theater for my 17th birthday. And she's like, I could curse here, right?
You can do whatever
She's
you
like,
want to.
bitch, I paid a lot for these tickets. You better get her attention. Ooh. And I was like, because I have moments where I become introverted and I'm just like, I don't want the attention, you know? Like, I don't mind being in the cut. Because when I'm on stage, it's a different story. But that's her stage. That's her throne. Like, and at one point, it was really quiet. And I was like, today's my birthday. And she was like, oh, today's your birthday? Ven acá. Come up here. And I was just like, oh my God. So somebody had already like a sign saying, you know, my dream is to sing with you or whatever. And the young lady went to sing with her and it wasn't great. So I was like, I can't use that card. I can't use the singing card because then everybody's going to think this is freaking, you know, Apollo. Mm-hmm. Let's go up there. And so I was like, today's my birthday. And I was like, I would really love to dance with you because dance was my shit. I was like, I would really love to dance with you and da-da-da. And she was like, all right. So she has this tongon, tingon, da-da-ga, tingon, tonga, whatever. And so I start dancing, whatever. And she's like, girl. And then she was like, bueno, como Chachi, como cumpleaños, happy birthday. She starts singing happy birthday. She didn't ask me my name. So when she gets to the part where you usually say the person's name, she stopped. And she was like, but nobody sang me happy birthday like this. And I was like, oh, it's my birthday. But I was like, I will sing you happy birthday. I know your birthday's in April, but I'll share my birthday with you. And she was like, because the confidence that exuded, she was just like, Ieta. So when I started singing, this woman had a hat on. She got to her knees. She took off her hat. She was like, oh, my God. And back then, there was no cell phones with cameras. Back then, it wasn't like, let's capture the moment. It wasn't that, you know? So it was like you had to be in that building to witness what went down. And that's something that for so many years, I was like, darn.
That would have been a viral moment.
God,
it would have been a viral moment.
Like, why? And I was 17. I was
on the Apollo at that?
A baby, right. New York, Apollo, a Puerto Rican girl from Brick City, Olga Tañón, her freaking idol, all this other stuff. And I was just like, damn. So I sang happy birthday for her. And she was like, you know, at the end, she was like, what's your name? And I told her my name. And she was like, you know, there's a lot of like rumors and words out there that I have competition. And I have competition because Giselle was out around that time. But Olga would always like win every award any category she was in, she was sweeping it. And so she was like, a lot of people say that I have competition, this, that, and the other. She was like, this girl right here, she's my competition. Wow. And I was just like, and I never forgot that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that one with me. Fast forward 15 years later. Her publicist and I are friends because I was working with Don Omar at the time. And he used to work with Don from time to time. And he's like, Chachi, Olga's going to be at Foxwood. Do you want tickets? Of course I want tickets. Of course. And he was like, come, I'm going to give you 2 tickets. Just get there and whatever. So I asked my homegirl, Belmy, I was like, you want to come with me to see Olga Tañón? She was like, absolutely. So I was like, perfect. I went, I bought her flowers. We're driving from Jersey to Connecticut. It was like maybe 2.5 hours. And I got a flat on the way there. And somebody who was driving next to me honked the horn and was like, bro. And I lowered my window and he was like, you got a flat. Like your tire is like on the rim. Like you got to pull over. And I was like, fuck. So I tell my homegirl, I'm like, look for a tire shop quick, because it was already like going towards the evening. And we had a stop at a gas station, and we found a tire shop who put my spare on for me. And I drove the rest, like the last hour, I drove it on a spare tire. My homegirl was like, you sure you want to go? And I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm not missing this. I'm not going to miss this moment. I said, and sometimes we get these obstacles put in our way because something great is coming. And it's like you're being tested to see if you really want what you say you want.
Real shit.
And I didn't even know. I was just preaching without even knowing I had a word. And she's like, then let's go. Con Dios y la Virgen. I drove super slow because I'm like, at this point, you know, I don't want to risk our lives and be crazy just to get there on time. I'm like, I know concerts are usually like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I'll be fine.
Time.
I'll be fine, right? Like, yeah. So we drove nice and slow. We park. We get there, and my boy David is like, Did you get here? And I was like, yeah, I've been sitting down. I'm sitting down. And he was like, where the hell did they give you these tickets? And I was like, I'm in row J, whatever. And he's like, I'm going to go get you. And I was like, okay. He came to get us, and he sat me on the second row, dead center, like in the middle, like strategically placed. And Olga's like, Chachi. And I was like, oh my God. Like a fangirl moment. Like I couldn't even, I was like, oh my God, I can't, oh my God. She's like, you're late. And I was like, I'm not late. I was like, I got you these flowers. So I go up, she was like, you was with Don Omar, that's why you late. I was like, no, I left that motherfucker for you. I'm here for you. And so she's like, she was like, you know, for those of you who don't know Chachi, she's an incredible talent. Like you guys need to like experience this girl at some point, because she's it. Like she's it. And she said the same thing. Like she should be in like, you know, places where these other girls are at. Without naming names, she names a lot of them. And a lot of them. I know they swallow heavy when they see her talk about me like that. Like, damn. But anyways, so I give her flowers or whatever, and I was like, I love you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I'm gonna go back to my seat. So I literally get into my little girl mode. I turn into that 9-10-year-old all over again. And I'm just like flabbergasted at this icon, incredible woman and talent and force on stage. They call her La Mujer de Fuego for a fucking reason, bro. They really, really do. And she's like, she's about to start a ballad. She brings up her, they were doing all these merengues and stuff, and then they bring up her guitarist and they bring up a stool, and she's about to start her ballad, and she's like, Chachi, te la sabe. And I wasn't even capturing that she was talking to me, because that's how I was just like, yeah. And it wasn't until my homegirl was like, Cha, if you know it. And I was like, huh? And she was like, te la sabes. And I'm like, yeah, because I know all her shit. So I'm like, yeah. And she's like, come. And I was like, huh? She's like, come sing it. I was like, so Brick City came out. I didn't even go through the stairs. I was like, dang, got on stage real quick in my jeans and stilettos, my soacates. And I get up there, and for a second, I have a moment where I'm like, oh shit, I don't have in-ear monitors on. It's a big. Foxwood is huge. And there's no floor monitors because everybody has in-ear monitors. And I'm like, oh shit.
You ain't got nothing in front of you.
Oh shoot, I don't have in-ear monitors. But I didn't, it was probably the devil trying to fuck with me. Like, it was like insecurity, you know, insecurity. Let me doubt. Let me put that in your head real quick. And I did like this to her. And she was like, desde hoy. I was like, he prohibido a mis ojos. And it just came out, and she literally left the stage and left me up there singing with her whole band and her guitarist, and came back after the song was almost done and finished the song with me. And that whole place was just like, everybody started clapping. And guess what? I had my moment 15 years later, and cell phones have cameras, and it became a viral moment. And it blew up on TikTok. It blew up on Instagram. And it's just, again, I got transported to that little girl that was so inspired by this woman on stage. And I could do that. I could definitely do that. And so having her co-sign me and or give me that, like, yeah, you can, is that's all I needed.
So how long were you taking it serious before you got that look? Or were you even? I mean, you were, because you on the road, you were dancing,
right.
but you were on the road for dancing, not singing.
I was on the road for singing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the road for singing with Don Omar and with Romeo. So in 20, I was doing a show, I Like It Like That, the musical, with Tito Nieves off Broadway in New York City. And when that run ended, Romeo's musical director contacted me and told me that they were looking for a background vocalist because their lead female singer was on maternity leave.
Got it.
And so literally right after the musical, so I was already working with my dancing, singing, and acting. This is where I transitioned to voice, was in like 2017. And I went on tour with Romeo. And then while I was doing that, I Like It Like That show, Don Omar hit me up and was like, I'm so proud of you. Because him and I have so many mutual friends, and we've crossed each other's paths so many times in the industry, but we had never worked together. He saw me producing my burlesque shows. He saw me doing what I was doing, and he was like, I'm so proud of you. You know, like, keep rocking. And Romeo, I think Romeo's people calling me was what got Don Omar inspired to call me, like, hey, you want to sing backgrounds? Like, I need some support. And I was like, well, what do you need? He was like, well, I'm supposed to be doing the Choliseo in Puerto Rico. And he was like, I need, I'm trying to like get dancers, set up, like there's a set design, this, that, and the other. He had seen what I was doing with my burlesque productions. And he was like, I want to do a live band. And I was like, I got all that. Let's go. Hurricane Maria happens. So once Hurricane Maria happens, the Choliseo got postponed indefinitely, but our relationship stood super, super
Solid.
cool. So then we started doing humanitarian work. From the humanitarian work, he's like, I'm supposed to be going on tour. He's like, in Mexico, I got a couple of dates in the U.S. and South America. He was like, are you interested in doing background vocals for me?
So you started popping doing background vocals, and then it led you to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because ironically, everything that I had done prior to singing background vocals for Romeo, I feel like people feel like I made it when I started singing background vocals for Romeo. And I'm like, y'all motherfuckers didn't see half the shit I just did. Like, help me understand the logic, but I get it. He is a super mega icon, superstar. Did
that like fuck with you a little bit? Like, and there's nothing wrong with doing that because there's levels to this shit. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you have that talent where you could go off without being a background singer, but that's part of paying dues.
And I come from the school where I don't mind paying dues. And I feel like every opportunity to learn, grow, and network is priceless. So it doesn't matter where you are, because at the end of the day, yeah, he's super mega talented, but he does need that company and that whole structure of all those people, from lighting, sound, musicians. He needs everybody in order for him to do the shows the way he wants to do the shows. So when I started working with him, background singing, I honestly they were paying well. I didn't take it as anything. If anything, I was manifesting on that stage. And I knew that where he was, I wanted to be. And I was like, I can do this. The same way I saw Olga and was like, I could do that. Being on stage with Don and with Romeo, I was like, I could do this. Like, I could so do this. I know how to captivate a crowd. I know how to entertain. I sing. I dance. I could move people without touching them. I have the charisma. Like, I'm comfortable. I'm more comfortable on stage than I am in the real world. And a lot of people don't understand that, because a lot of people have stage fright. A lot of people are like, I feel like I could really be me on stage, Like it's I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know if there's a platform that you guys feel like this really like represents me. This is where I exude the best energy, and it's on stage for me. So I love the fact that I think in working with Romeo was that Don was like, you know what, Cha, come. You're not doing anything right now. And I was like, no, I was just relieving the girl who was on maternity leave. Yeah. And so he was like, nah, come over here. And then when we're friends now, Giselle has her second baby. Romeo's like, he's very picky with his stuff, and he likes his stuff a certain way. So he's like, call Chachi. He's like, that's our girl. So I came back and I started working with them. I did MetLife with them. So 85,000 people. That's the biggest crowd I've ever performed in front of. When I tell you I had goosebumps the whole time I was there, like that concert was 4 hours long. The whole time I was there, I had goosebumps, and I prayed so much that night. And the energy that I received and we received from that audience was euphoric, literally. And so being on stage with Romeo and being on stage with Don, they both influenced different things in me. And so with Don Omar was the one that made me feel like, start writing. You have sandunga, you have this, you know, that calle, that piquete, you have all that sazon, like you got this. So when I was working with Don, I started writing more on the urban side, more reggaeton, more that style of music.
All day.
Right.
Yep.
I mean,
He
one
brought
of
the
the
hood out of
highlights.
you. He brought the hood out of you. You know what I'm saying?
Why he saw me, yo, singing that with Tego and with Don, and having Tego be like Chachi. I'm like,
yeah.
I'ma change my name to Chachi. I'ma change it.
He was singing con mi
Bro,
tumba.
yo. So singing
Facts.
that, like, and literally at that point we didn't even have to sing it because the audience would sing it so
That shit was so fire.
It was so beautiful. But
So
he made me
fire.
tap into Newark, urban, you know, like that hood girl that I could, that, you know, that's right, that brick city chick. So I did that with him. But then when I started working with Romeo the second time around,
It's that crossover.
it was the crossover, and it just, I think what I took from working with Romeo was being private with certain things, you know, like,
Being a star.
yeah, like
That
the way he's
accessible.
reserved.
It's next level,
Accessible
though.
and all
It's
that
next
shit.
level. So there's levels to
That
this
was to the
shit.
shit. Fact.
King and you're the queen.
Bro, there's levels to this. That man, his work ethic, how he rehearses his band, how in it to win it he is, how, like,
It's the reason why he sells out.
there's a reason. There's a reason, because when you reap what you sow, right? And when you put it in that work, and you put it in that work for all these years, and you put it in that work, and it's good quality work, because anybody can work, but is it quality? Is it good shit? And then being inspired by his pen, I don't care. I mean, besides, to me, I mean, Juan Luis Guerra is up there. But besides Juan Luis Guerra,
Dale, papi.
and maybe Juan Gabriel, right? Like, but those are already
Juan
older,
Gabriel.
right? Like, let's
Gabriel is-
let's leave him right here, right?
Sheesh.
It's Romeo. I don't care what nobody says. In Spanish, in English, this man writes like a freaking god. And the way he's so articulate, and he could write you 30 songs on the same motherfucking subject.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
Yeah.
And this is no disrespect to him.
No, go ahead.
This thing is toxic.
Who?
Romeo is toxic. This is a tender dick ass dude.
What do you-
And y'all love this motherfucker. Like, he tells you he's gonna fuck with you, and he gonna tell your man
He says it nicely.
that. You hear this shit?
That's
bro?
why he say he's toxic. And he says it nicely.
Like, what is wrong with y'all women with this guy, man? And listen, Romeo's from 146. I'm from 150th. I
I'm
don't
taking
have
a
no
sip.
problem with
Take a
him.
sip of this,
I'm just
man.
trying to figure out, like, what is up with y'all women, man? Y'all just love to hear toxic shit. That's what
Okay,
it
so-
is.
so if
Y'all
I-
don't want a motherfucker to come to you and be like, yo, mami, mira, esto y lo otro, no.
Salí con tu mujer. What the fuck? Nigga, you weren't supposed to say
Like,
nothing.
what the fuck?
You're supposed to keep it secret. What the fuck?
Yo, Romeo, I need you on the show, papi.
Salí con tu
Porque,
mujer.
coño,
What?
manín, vamos a tener que hablar tú y yo, because this shit is crazy. What
I
we
remember.
doing?
Nah, can I be honest? And I'm gonna, if I do say so myself, okay?
I wanted you.
I was
Okay,
in
we'll take a sip on
Spain
that
with
one.
him. We were in Marbella. And at one point, this man goes into like, let's just stop the music, and I want to talk to my audience. And he said, where are my Romeistas? Like, you know, my good people, right? And that shit was like,
the barbs and
no,
fucking the
wait.
beehive.
That shit was
Sheesh.
like, and everybody was like, wow, like super loud, right? And then he said, like, where my toxic motherfuckers at? And the fucking venue wanted to fall. Everybody was like, wow! I was like, and that's when that show I will never forget, because I was like, oh my God, this is bad. I was like, this was my,
He's like, I'm in the fucking web.
no, this, I swear to you, I was like,
Yo.
I kind of, at that moment, it was
Realize.
At that moment,
That you done fucked up.
I realized that people like that toxicity.
Yeah.
They love it. They overdose on that toxicity.
Facts, yeah.
And then on the lovey-dovey stuff, it's like
They don't want it. They don't want it.
That's cute.
The
Yeah.
decibel
want
of
it.
the freaking toxic cheer was like at this, and the good one was here, and I'm like, oh my God, Lord, come now because we're lost.
Listen,
we're lost.
When him and his sister sang that song,
That's not his sister,
I mean,
Judy, the Obsession.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean,
Listen, end of the day, my man told you straight up, I'm gonna tell that nigga we fucking. Yeah, before you say I do,
Oh shit.
I'm gonna tell him we fucking.
what? I mean,
And
listen.
it's like everybody, like you said,
And it's a hit, and they love it. They love
this
it.
is an era, right, where you can't be that nice lovey-dovey dude. You
It's
gotta
like
be
the
that
toxic
motherfucking
stuff
dude that be
sells.
here like, oh, you think you're gonna play me? All right, I'm gonna screenshot all this texts that you sending me. What's his name on Instagram?
And we gonna make a whole video out of it.
What's his Instagram?
Right. Because men are women.
But y'all love that
No,
shit.
but I mean, and y'all love it too. So you, it's a double.
I don't-
listen,
I don't-
listen.
I don't-
You can't speak for all the women, and I can't speak
No,
for all the
you
men.
just-
But
you just
I will
said
say,
Spain.
I will say
Hold
on
on.
stage,
Chachi,
I heard,
Chachi.
I heard what I heard,
Chachi,
and
hold on.
Toxic won.
Chachi, listen to
Toxic
what I'm about to tell you right now. You said you was in Spain, right? I guarantee you it was a stadium or something similar where it was over 40,000 women or people.
It wasn't just women.
It was over 40,000 people.
It was 39,000 women and
100
50.
men.
Thank you.
And 100 men.
Thank you.
And the men, the
And
100
they
men
was
were the men from
all
the stage.
like this. When he started singing that lovey-dovey shit, they was like,
The word he used, he was like, ¿Dónde están los romeístas? And then he said, ¿A dónde están los infieles?
Look,
That's
look,
the word he used. Los infieles, the unfaithful motherfuckers. That's who he
And
called
that's-
out.
And when you said that shit shake the whole fucking stadium.
It shook the whole stadium.
Exactly.
And I said, Lord, that's your cue. Come down.
Yeah.
That's your cue.
Strike
Right
this
now.
whole
Come
shit.
down. Send
Strike
the
this
water.
whole shit.
Send the water.
Yeah, exactly. This
So
is bad.
his pen game was the pen game that inspired me to start writing music that had a little bit more substance
Edge.
and a little bit more truth.
Oh,
And
those-
a little
and those-
bit more experience behind
Okay,
it, and
my bad.
not just like let's dance and party and have a good time, and no, it was talk some shit, some real shit, because people gonna relate, and that's what inspired me to like go the other route on my music. Because if you listen to the music that I started producing in 2018 to the album that I dropped last year in October, it's two different women.
Yeah, listen, it's like he said, Toxic and Pain Records
It
hit
works.
different
It works.
because people could relate to them shits.
Mary been
All that,
selling out
it, like he's that in
since
between shit.
1992.
Right.
It don't, like when you
Right.
when you spill that pain, it resonates with
Yeah,
the
it's
world.
relatable.
It's relatable.
Exactly.
It's relatable.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. It's
Because you go through
identifiable.
heartbreak in friggin' elementary school, in high school, in college,
Yeah. It starts
all
with,
types of life.
It starts with this right here. You want to go out? The paper, yes or no?
Yeah, right. The little, you
sabe?
remember
Yeah,
the
tú
little
sabes?
paper that used to be like,
Yeah,
what was that
exactly.
called? Yeah.
You sabe? But I want to know real quick. You mentioned it earlier, La Chachi. How did that come about?
My aunt,
She sounds like she's toxic.
no, she's fun. She's fun.
She's toxic.
Nah, she's fun.
Fuck out of here.
She is.
Don't even like. Let's not sugarcoat it because we on the pod right now. She's toxic.
She's fucking toxic. That's right.
Thank you. Keep it a buck.
And I'm a
You
Leo,
from
just
Newark.
like that bitch.
You
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly. Fucking lions don't know how to fucking act. They
Rawr,
just be
motherfucker.
lying.
No, I don't lie. I'm sorry. I'll hurt you with the truth. Even if my voice shakes, I'm gonna tell you what it is.
That's
Tell you what it
a
is.
10 percentile.
I'm gonna tell you what it is.
But
Nah, my
anyways-
I'll be honest with you. You know what? Now that I think about it, and I know life has made her like that, and I'm happy she's like that because she's a great role model to me.
Two toxic women.
Nah.
It's all
Titi
good.
Maggie was the one that gave me my name Chachi. She's my godmother as well. And she was one of the women who raised me. When I said my mom, my grandmother, and my godmother.
It's fire that you still have all of them, but go ahead.
And I do. I'm very grateful to God for that. There was a song, I'm not sure if it was Eddie Santiago or Lalo Rodriguez. It was a salsa song. And I remember that towards the end of the song, it did something like cha chiki cha chi cha chi cha chiki chiki cha chi, something in that sense. And she would put me on the table and I would just freaking start dancing. And I was like, not even 1, 2. So I was like literally
So you
a
had this
toddler.
you had that name for a while.
My whole life. So, and it's a name that I haven't been able to get away from. So even when I started producing music as Grizel Del Valle, and let's say people from the industry would interview me or I would do a show somewhere or whatever, they would still wind up saying La Chachi. And I'm like, that's not what I told y'all to say. I told y'all to say Grizel Del Valle. Like, ain't nobody, like, who told you to say Chachi? And I'm talking about, like, radio interviews, El Pachá, like, people from Univision, like, all the time. And I'm like, guys, that's not the name I gave. So we decided that in order to marry both officially, because people would be like, I can't find your music because they were looking for Chachi, La Chachi.
Nice.
And all the music is under Grizel Del Valle. I was like, you know what? When I come out with my album, I am going to put my album is going to be titled La Chachi. And that's how I'm going to marry both names so that whenever you look for this bitch pops up.
Listen, trust me.
The same bitch.
You see, I start my podcast or our podcast
Yes.
with 2 names because
Yeah.
I'm 2 totally different people. But
That's how I feel.
I say Tank Sinatra because a lot of people don't know how to say Taino Domingo.
Right.
So it's like, listen, either or.
You know
take
how
your
many
pick.
people call me Grizzle? My name is not Grizzle, my nizzle.
That's my mother's name. Like I've never.
Grizel?
Yeah.
Shut up.
So they call her Lisa because nobody knows how to pronounce it.
There
You
you
see?
go.
You see?
And the way they spell it, I'm like, I put Grizel. Why are you putting an S? Why are you putting LLE? Why are you like? I'm like, my name is not Giselle. Respect the name. So I was just like, you know what? La Chachi is gonna be the name of the title of the album, and it's gonna work, and then it's just gonna be married together. Ja.
Dope.
They
Okay.
won't fuck it up after that.
So,
hopefully.
Chachi, where do you draw inspiration from with creating and performing?
So creating wise, I feel like I draw inspiration from the pioneers that came before me. So I don't really listen to music from nowadays, if that makes any sense.
No, I don't.
I
He'll tell you.
Yeah.
I live in the 90s.
yeah, well I'm back in the 70s. 70s,
Okay.
60s. Ironically, Chachi from the Happy Days. I don't know if y'all remember Chachi from the Happy
What
Days.
you mean? I'm 49.
So that's where my aunt got the name from, actually. She told me afterwards, after all these
Chachi's a
years, she used to be
dude,
like, right.
And he was a bozo.
But I ain't a bozo and I ain't a dude. Even though I got big dick energy, I'm not a dude.
He was a bozo.
But the name, I mean, they call people who are named Michelle Chachi. Like, it's just and recently I gave my name in Starbucks. I was like Chachi, and she was like mad Puerto Rican. And I was like, so I guess it ain't bozo-ish and or, guy related.
Heard
I was
heard
like, okay.
you.
Right. So I draw inspiration from like pioneers that came before me. I like looking into music from the 70s, which is my favorite era. 60s, like I said, I've always been very in tune and attracted to the Latin side of like music. So anything from Celia Cruz to La Lupe to Graciela, Olga, Anita Nazario, Ana Gabriel, Rocío Dúrcal. Like I'm talking about like women who my mother used to clean using their music, and Gloria Estefan, they just inspired so much in me that as time passed and as, music changes and evolves, I really didn't resonate and or relate to half of the music that has come out and or comes out, right? It's very rare. So I do have my Adele's, my Amy Winehouse, Jasmine Sullivan. So those are the women that are India Ari. So those are the people that I'm like, okay, I know I'm very soulful in my style, and it's just a matter of making that Latin soul sauce that I love so much, And then I also draw inspiration from like real life moments that not only have happened to me firsthand, but that have happened to people that I love and who have shared stories with me and or real life experiences with me. So you might say something that I might be like, you know what, this is great, and I'll just write it in my little Rolodex of like, notes for future reference, and ironically I will use eventually for a song. Like, I remember one time talking to a friend who was going through a breakup while I was writing the album, and I was in my happiest state, engaged, pregnant, about to have a baby, like just euphoric and happy, and she's going through this breakup, and her boyfriend at the time, a very educated man. When I tell you, he had a whole library in his house. Like he loved to read. He was a school teacher, super smart. And she said something. She was like, she's like, he reads all these fucking books, but my love language, he doesn't read it.
He's a dirtbag.
I said, my love language, you don't read it. And that's Love Language is one of my songs. And so that's one of the lines where people are like, oh my God, that line. And I'm like, that's not even firsthand. That's something that happened to my comadre. So somebody that I love. And in her like purging and like just venting to me, I was able to take that little moment of inspiration and say, I'm going to use you eventually. And I put it down.
Yeah,
so
your ass is
I
toxic.
draw inspiration from, fuck
Your
you
ass
and your
toxic.
toxicity. You know what? I'm over
No,
you.
listen. If you take that situation, it's the same thing as Romeo, your ass is toxic.
But you know what? Toxicity sells. So here we are.
I know.
Making money.
So look, your Puerto Rican heritage, right? How does that influence your artistry?
Every day. I
How
am
does
the
it
bomba.
influence it?
I
Tell
am
the
the
people,
plena.
how does-
I am the pandaretas. I am your freaking gofio. I am I am the coqui that just
Yeah,
harmonizes
super
at
coqui.
night. Yes, that's me. The one that doesn't stop and just continues and continues until you have to hear it. Puerto Rico is just in my DNA. It's my island is, to other people it's very small, but to me it's the biggest thing in the whole wide world. I was not born there firsthand, but I am so happy that my lineage comes from that small island. I was able to serve them during Hurricane Maria and right after the hurricane, and I think that's going to be one of my greatest accomplishments of like my whole life, and I know it. I did God's work for my people, and serving them was my pleasure. This PTSD that I feel every September during hurricane season, I carry that badge of honor with me because these people are beautiful people. They're humble people. They're giving people. Don't fuck with them because they could be toxic. Pero we love hard, and they're fucking awesome. And there's so much that comes out of my island, and that little rock has been abused for so many years, and a lot of people don't talk about the history and what our culture and what we've really been through, to wave a flag, how birth control was first tested on Puerto Rican women and it wasn't said to be birth control. So we were their guinea pigs, how Vieques and the bombs and so many things that they just experimented on us. And I mean, I know every place has their history, right? But my little island I feel like we're like this punching bag, and it's like we just need a break. That's all. So that's why when we have, incredible athletes that come from the island and or musicians and artists that come from the island or engineers and scientists that come from the island or, people who are winning gold medals at the Olympics for like just being the fastest motherfucker on the track. We carry everybody with so much pride because we're so tiny, but they help us be seen. And so I know, a lot of people aren't the same way I've gotten my following. I got a big of my following from what happened with Hurricane Maria and the humanitarian work that I did. And for the people who don't know, I was the girl on that picture from the swing with the flag wrapped around her. And I was the one that did the little excerpt of Campo. And those viral moments not only helped me gain over 30,000 followers overnight, but the way they got me the good attention, they also got me bad attention. And you also get the people who are like, oh, you're just trying to draw attention. And what the fuck are you doing for the island? Or look at this, wannabe Puerto Rican or wannabe. So I learned that no matter how much you do for people, there's always going to be opinions. And people are always going to have something to say. And you're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. It helped me build my thicker skin because it did. And, as long as I know who I am and I know what I do and I know what I continue to, like, believe and stand for, that's all that matters.
Before my brother says what he's about to say, right? First of all, fuck them. Right? Because until you have haters,
Right.
you ain't been doing shit.
Facts.
Yeah, bro.
So you mentioned, because now we come from an era where it's followers and
Yeah.
this type of shit. When did you get? Because you're independent artist.
Yeah.
No major backing, no big label, none of the machines behind you.
Oh, but I have the greatest machine. I
I'm
have
sure,
the greatest machine behind me.
of course, you do.
God.
Of course,
That's the greatest one.
that's the main
Amen.
machine.
It's the only one you need.
Amen.
When did you get verified on Instagram?
It was top of 2018.
Do you remember that moment? Like what?
Yes.
What? How was that feeling? What was the moment? Let's talk about it.
Oh, that's such
Because
a good
now-
question. You're gonna make me cry. No.
Because now people pay for the check, but now
No,
you
not
got it.
yet,
You
no.
got it before it was.
Yeah. So there was a publicist that saw everything I did for Hurricane Maria, and she put in all the paperwork.
So it was the Hurricane Maria thing that really
Yeah.
made it happen.
Yeah. And this publicist
Okay.
who literally, like I said, put all the paperwork, did all the work she had to do. I think she would do it for clients and stuff like that. And I remember I had came out with a song, Déjate Ver, which ironically, it was a duo song with my friend Campi. But his manager, when they split up, took all of his music off the internet and stuff like that. So right now you can't even get that song. And we've tried to like bring it back, but we can't
get
put it
politics,
back.
yeah.
But that song, having that song come out, gave her like the last thing that she needed in order to submit for my like verification. And I remember calling my friend Reina, and I was on tour with Don Omar. I was in a hotel. And I remember calling my friend Reina and telling her, can you go on Instagram right now and check my page? And she was like, yeah, I'm at work. She's a hairstylist, Chic Studio. She's like, yeah, give me a second. And she was like, oh my God, what the fuck? She was like, you're verified. And I was like, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a glitch and that I wasn't being pranked and that it wasn't something that was like, you know, that only I could see and that, you know, oh my God. And I remember crying and not knowing. I was just like, oh, wow, God, thank you so much. And then the lady DM'd me. And she said, these were her words. She was like, you know, all the stuff and work that you did for Hurricane Maria did not go unseen. And she was like, you were verified in God's eyes way before this check mark. She was like, but I just thought that you needed to have it.
You deserved it.
Message.
You worked for it. You worked for it.
Message.
And,
Reina's a Virgo too.
and
Yeah.
do you remember the first time someone ran down on you and was like, I want to take a picture with you?
Well, no, because, for example, like when you do theater shows and stuff like that, and after the show, when you come out, a lot of people wait.
Yeah.
They wait for you. And sometimes we would take our sweet old time to take off all the lashes, the wigs, put our costumes where they belong. Sometimes we would shower, talk shit, all this other stuff, or you know, sometimes they had notes for us, so we would still have to stay there. But some people would just wait for you. But I think when it really started happening, I had started dating my husband, and this is where I noticed, I was like, wait, I don't know these fucking people. This is real random. And at the airport, it would always happen at the airport. So when we first started dating, one of the first trips that we took was to Tulum, and somebody's like, oh my God, Chef Kelvin. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, because I mean, I'm okay with that. So I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh my God, can I take a picture? And da-da-da-da. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I'll take it here. Give me the camera, because I don't mind. I don't need to be in the photo. And then we went to the food thingy majingy, and somebody's like, oh my God, I'm such a fan. And I thought that they were gonna say Chef Calvin, and she was like, Chachi, can I have a picture? And he looked at me like, so I was like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, nigga, we banging. We both banging. What's up?
Yeah, you ain't the
You
only
ain't the
one
only
out
one
here.
here,
You ain't the only one out here.
You ain't the only superstar.
What's wrong with you,
What
boy?
you thought, bro? What you?
Yeah.
So how was that feeling though? How was that feeling?
It was great because at the end of that, like before we got to the flight, I think we were like, I was like 3 and he had 2. So three people had come up to me and 2 people had gone up to him.
Oh, so now
And
it's
so
okay.
it was like on some tick for tack.
We keeping tally marks.
Scores over here. But I thought it was
Remember,
cool.
she grew up with everybody in the house had to do what
competitive
they
cousin.
did.
So I was like, wait,
Yeah.
anything you could do, I could do better. Huh? Be
Yeah,
a
fuck
coach.
wrong with you.
That cry
Gosh. So yeah, there's random moments that happen. We went to a 9 a.m. banger like a couple months ago. My friend Nancy and I, and it was so hot in the room, and we were like, okay, let's go find the salsa room. And so in finding the salsa room, we had to go outside of the main room to go downstairs, and we see this lady who's by herself, and we're just like, wow, like we're jamming to the music. We're like, wow, I feel so much better here. And I'm the type of person where I'll make eye contact with whoever. I'll smile at whoever. I am that person that will talk to strangers. I am just, so I don't know this lady, but she's like, yeah, it's a lot better out here. And then she's like, oh my God, you're Chachi. And she just starts bawling. And I was like,
What the fuck is going on?
oh my God, why are you crying? And she's like, oh my God, it's my birthday. And I came by myself because nobody wanted to come with me. And da-da-da-da. And she was like, and look at God. I didn't know this was going to happen. And you're here. And da-da-da. She was like, can we take a picture? And she's like hugging me. She was like, let me make sure you're real. And she's like, oh my God. And it was crazy. And when she DMs me the photos, this woman had been writing to me for years. Wow. And I write to everybody. So I'm that type of person where I open my DMs. And yes, I have a friend who helps me with like my social platforms, but she doesn't open it. She leaves everything for me to open. I remember an interview that Celia Cruz told Don Francisco that she wrote everyone that ever sent her a gift and or anybody who ever sent anything of her fan base to her. And she wrote everyone back. That was her, like, she made it her mission to write everybody back. And so I'm thinking, how fortunate am I that I don't have to send the letter? How fortunate am I that I have freaking a social platform and technology that I could reply right away, and it doesn't have to be something that takes a a trip to the post office just to say thank you to you or to acknowledge you for acknowledging me. So I feel the community that I've created with my people, they know, and they've been rocking with me for a really long time. And like you said, an independent artist, it's taken me, years to get the 94,000 followers that I have on Instagram. I never paid for bots. I never paid for likes. I never paid for comments. I never created pages replying to myself, telling myself, hey, guys, good job.
That's wild. But this is the society we live in. This is the fucking... Yo, the shit that people do is just wild.
I feel like I don't have to do that. And then something else that I was thinking about Cha today, and I was like, Cha, don't talk shit on this freaking podcast, Cha. Don't talk shit.
We talk all types of
But
languages.
I gotta be honest with you. It's like a part of me feels like this field that I am in right now, when it comes to like recording artists, is so oversaturated because we have this beautiful platform of like technology and having access to recording our stuff and or, going into a studio and laying some stuff down. I just feel like, it's like a doctor is a doctor, but you can't just be like, I'm a doctor. You have to go to school. You have to be certified. You have to, learn how to do certain procedures and protocol and operate and learn the whole freaking biology of the body and the levels to it. And it's like, when you're an engineer, when you're a architect, when you're a dentist, when you're you know what I mean? You can't just be like, even when you're a teacher, you just can't be like, oh, I'm a teacher. Well, do you have any background in curriculums in school and psychology and children and trauma? And there's a lot of things that go into it. And I'm like, right now we're in a day and age where it's 2025 and it's like people left and right is on some like, oh, I'm a singer. And it's like, well, a doctor can't fake an operation with autotune. And neither can a dentist, and neither can an engineer, right? But then all of a sudden, it's like everybody and their mother wants to be a vocalist, and it's like you're pitchy as hell. You don't have a real audience because you buy half of your shit. You've never done a show live, and or if you did a show live, you can't even go up to bat and like really bat. And it's like, who? Because your mom says you could sing, you think that you're a vocalist? Mm-hmm. And it's like, so now I have to prove myself and now I have to try to become popular because now talent doesn't even matter. It's popularity. Yeah. So it's like, it's just a shit show. It's a shit show and it's very discouraging. And it takes a lot to be in this industry, an industry where there are so many beautifully talented people that deserve incredible, like, recognition, platforms, opportunities and stuff. And it's like, we get the shit end of the stick because, we're not smashing X, Y, and Z, or because we're not dating this wannabe rapper or a famous person or whatever the case is, or, it's like we have all this talent being wasted and incredible. And I just don't speak for myself. I speak for so many people in my community who feel like right now we're fucking silenced because we're oversaturated with shit.
Do you feel?
said I wouldn't
I
talk
mean,
shit
listen,
on this
you drop.
I wasn't even trying to go there. Chachi
Nah,
just went. And she's not
yeah,
even drinking.
she's dropping gems. Do you feel as a? I mean, you're in the game, obviously. Like you've been around the world and back twice. Do you feel as Latinos, we get overlooked in the culture?
Yeah, absolutely. Look how beautiful it is that obviously and let's not go there, right? But we're gonna go there. The Anglos and the white people, right? They have their platforms in the Hollywoods and all this stuff. And even our African American community, they have their own channels, they have their own networks, they have their own labels, they have their own they have their own movies, they have their own they have their own, they've already set a place and a mark, a stamp. And I just feel like how fucked up it is for Latinos that I am not black enough and I am not white enough, so I fall in a limbo. Right? We fall in a limbo. Like now is that Latino films and stuff like that is like, making a little noise and resonating, and because people started speaking up for themselves and people started uniting on some no, why y'all always trying to freaking put Latinas in a maid or in a whore role? Like why I always gotta be that person? Why can't I be the neuroscience or why the surgeon or the lawyer or why can't we play these roles?
Somebody just said this, right?
Listen,
Was it Honey German?
I'm gonna keep it honest with you,
I
right?
love Honey.
Yeah, we just had something like this came up where they want to give the stripper roles to the Latina. It's crazy.
I'm gonna keep it honest with you, right? Once again, I gotta be easy. I'm the fan. He's the industry guy. I'm just giving you my perspective from the outside point of view. If somebody, and this is no disrespect to you,
Okay.
I'm not gonna mention any names of actors or anything like that. If you're an A-lister and you don't say, I'm not finna do this role because whoever comes behind me needs to be held at a certain standard, that's where the problem occurs. You understand what I'm saying? Because I was going to ask you about your acting roles and shit like that, but since you opened Pandora's box, this is what it is. It's whoever comes before you, if they put you like this, right? So now there's this thing in Hollywood right now where everybody's talking about, after Cat Williams' interview, he's talking about everybody that's wearing dresses as a man.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to be like,
I'll take the role or I'll pass. Absolutely.
so it's the same situation.
Absolutely. And you had the people like the Rita Morenos that were like, thank you, but no.
Rita,
But yeah,
love you, Rita.
But right.
Dios te bendiga, mi amor,
Yes,
coño.
yes. But then you
La
also
tía de
have,
nosotros.
but then you also have the people with the mentality of but I want to be a star, or I want to be in a film, and I want to get this credit, and I want to show that I could do this, and maybe this is going to open the next door for me. But unfortunately, it's like you get boxed, or you get put in a situation where you always have to be that girl, and it sucks. I mean, I'll speak more for the music than anything else, because right now that is the industry. Even though I do a little bit of everything, that is where I am all in, right? And when I say an industry that's so oversaturated, I went to the Billboard Awards last year, and in one of the panels they were mentioning how a day 100,000 songs get uploaded a day.
Facts. Yep.
So at this point, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And that's how I've decided to, when you say, what do I pick for sources of inspiration, is also making sure that my caliber of quality is A1. And that what I'm putting out is not what X, Y, and Z is putting out. Because everybody could do that, but they can't do what I do. So I have to really stick to what I do best and what I know not a lot of people could do. So... And I say that to say, obviously, look, I love the arts, and I've been in this for a really long time, but there's a lot of times where you get discouraged.
I was going to ask you that. I'm glad you said that. My next question was, does it turn you off?
It does.
You've traveled the world, you performed on the biggest platforms and arenas, stages.
It does.
You've got a taste of it.
Yeah.
So now you circle back, and it's back to you, and you know what I'm saying? You pumping your dope, and it's like, damn, do I really Like, do I really want to do this, or like this is what I got to compete against this shit?
Or you have people who have been following you for a while you have the people that are like, we'll wait and we love it and this and that and the other. But then you have the other people that are like, oh, you know, why you not famous yet? And it's like, well,
What's your definition of fame? Like, why? How you? Yeah.
right. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's an opinion kind of.
Exactly.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not like,
1000%.
right.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like, okay, maybe I'm not famous, but who said I wanted to be famous? I always felt and feel like my art is therapy and it's therapeutic, because the same way I've used music from other artists to be like the soundtrack of my life, or to help me get through certain times of my life, and or, you know, maybe mend the blow a little bit. I feel like people are using my music as therapy and or my art as an escape to get away and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm serving my purpose. I'm making people smile. I'm working. You know, I'm not doing the 9 to 5. No offense to that, but fortunate enough that I can give myself to the arts and live off of it, right? But it is discouraging, because it's like, if doctors had, you know, people coming up to a hospital saying, well, I'm a doctor, you know, 30 people a day coming, I'm a doctor, and not having anything to prove that says that you are a real doctor, physician, MD, all that good stuff. You know, this is the one field where it's like anybody could come up and be like, well, I'm a singer. But okay, but just take the auto-tune off. That's all I'm saying. Take the auto-tune off.
Heavy on the auto-tune,
and be a
shut it
singer.
off.
And be a singer. And then you could say you're a singer, and then you could do whatever you want to do. But you can't come in it on some like having a AI tool freaking be your crutch. And it's like, that's not the real world, bro. Like,
There's a difference between being a singer and a singer.
you know?
This is why
Oh, I
Jay
know.
said death for autotune, bro. He said this shit 10, 15 years ago, bro. And it's still going on.
No, back in the day, Motown, it was like when they used to record on these like the track, one track thingy majingies, like the
Reels. Yeah, the 2-inch reels.
You better hit it or quit it on the first go,
That's a
because them
fact.
shits is expensive, and
And
we
that
don't
shit-
got time to
Them
waste.
tapes are
was about to say,
$250
that shit
a
cost-
pop, and you had to take a
that
razor
shit
blade
cost
and
bread.
cut it,
Bro.
and that's how you had to punch in.
Like he said.
Yeah, there was no Pro Tools, bro.
Look. Like he said right now, you had to cut it, splice it, and put the shit together.
And not everybody could do that.
Ain't nobody trying to do that.
So they weren't having that. They were on
Ain't
some like, y'all
nobody
gonna
trying to do-
rehearse it
Listen.
until y'all got it, and
And
when
then
y'all got it,
y'all
we
take
gonna
your ass
cut
to the
it.
studio.
But until we know you got it, we not cutting it. But nowadays, anybody could go into the and freaking auto tune it out, and it's like, now you sound like
Pro Tools that
Beyonce,
bitch out.
bitch, and you can't do that live.
I know. I ain't even want to go there.
So it bothers. It's just like. No, or the people who buy bots
leave
or
karaoke me alone.
or buy the they buy the likes, they buy the this, they buy the following, and then they can't fill nothing up.
At all.
They can't
You
fill
know
a
what's
50
crazy?
seater, a 100 seater, a 200 seater, a 300 seater, a 500,
Well,
and it's
see, but
like
that's
you
the
need
problem,
90 artists to sell out a $18,000 18,000 person stadium. Like,
Not even that.
Something's
You know what I would
wrong.
love to do? I would love to do this, right? If you're
This guy over here.
I'm not even drinking.
no. I'm keeping it a buck, right? I need whoever's an up and coming artist to go to the Apollo. Because the Apollo's gonna let you know
If you good or not, if you
your
got it or not.
performance is what it is, or if it's not. Because guess what? I want to see what you look like when niggas is like this. Boo! Everybody's laughing in here.
But it's true.
Boo!
Mm-hmm.
If you made for this or if you're not made for this, let me tell you something, right? I don't even like bringing this shit up. He knows that I don't like this shit. I'm really not about being in front of the camera and all this shit. But look, let me give you an example, right? 1995, 17 years old. No, I'm lying. I'm 19.
I was 9. I'm listening.
Stinking ass. So, yo, look, Look, I'm on the Apollo stage.
They booed you, no.
Nah, chill. Listen.
Okay, I'm listening. Espérate.
We tell the dude, but this is regular Wednesday. This is not the TV version. Mind you, I did both. Right? I'm saying this to give you an example of what I'm talking about. We told the dude, listen, the tape is queued up. Don't rewind this tape. He rewinded the tape. So we start my group. I was in a group. With our back turns to the crowd. Them motherfuckers is booing. Boo, because it's taking mad long.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as the shit go off, we say whatever, we turn around, we start singing. Motherfuckers, that same shit that you said, how motherfuckers be turning up, the whole spot went crazy. Right? A lot of people will fold in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? We need to go back to that because that's why we have the entertainment that we have right now. And you go see somebody performing, they got a track playing. I can't stand to see a motherfucker performing and you got a track. Why do you have a track?
They got freaking microphones now with auto-tune.
No.
It's
Listen.
wild. It's wild.
Listen. I would say something right now about one of the people that's selling out right now, but I ain't gonna do it to him. Everybody loves him.
Yeah, no, listen, it's a different era, bro. Like I said,
This is
the talent. The talent is overlooked. The talent is not appreciated anymore because the Pro Tools, the Auto Tune, the this, the that. Open your laptop, you could just fucking plug and play. I feel the same thing with DJs. Like niggas ain't paying no dues. You get a fucking hard drive with
Serato.
80,000 records. You never pay no dues. It's just weird. Like,
Right.
and this is why there's 80 million artists. This is why there's 50,000 more DJs because of the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, where do you draw the line? It's just going to get worse.
I want to ask you this, right? Because you said your school put you in a whole program. They made you 360 degrees. They ain't just have you just being a singer and shit like that. What made you want to, or how did you venture into movies and things like that? Being a dancer or being a choreographer.
So through dance, for example, when I was doing
You gotta be that shit to be a choreographer and all this
Yeah.
type of shit on a motherfucking movie.
Yeah,
Like,
but you,
the
I
fuck?
mean, when you love what you do, it's like I said, is
So let me ask
totally
you
different.
this
It comes
real
like a
quick.
second nature.
Let me ask you this quick. Singing or dancing?
So 20 years ago, I would have told you dancing, but singing.
All right, go ahead. Carry on.
Yeah. And again, because I feel like anyone can dance with the proper
that's
time
some
out.
bullshit.
Listen, I taught a high school of deaf kids, okay, who could not hear, and I had them dancing to the vibration off of the stage floor. So when I tell you anyone can learn how to dance, anyone can learn how to dance, but not everyone can learn how to sing. Okay, like it's just, and you could take vocal lessons, and yes, you could work on your breathing, you could work on your tonality, you could work on certain things, but
That's some bullshit.
there's something that comes with and I don't want to sound fucked up, but like when it comes to real vocalists,
You can't work on tone.
you can't. No, you can. If
Nah,
you
I don't believe that.
if you play the piano and you have these chords given to you and you can mimic what they're playing for you, you can absolutely work on tone. But there's a certain it character and factor that you cannot teach, you cannot buy, you cannot learn. It's called it.
It's the it factor.
You understand?
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
And it's fucking awesome. And not everybody has it. But the people who fucking have it, we glow in the dark.
Drop mic on that one.
But
Because I say that shit. That it factor is different.
it is.
When you walk in the room, you just glow. Like you can't pay for it. Like you said, it just, you have it. It's called it.
And you don't even have to be the best. But when you make people feel stuff, when you know how to interpret, when you know, I learned one of my superpowers. I was like, bro, I'm singing a ballad. I'm not shaking my ass. I'm not showing my ass. I don't have all the pyro and the lights, and all I have is a fucking guitarist and a fucking cajon. And I see this lady crying. And this other lady is about to
That's
cry.
it.
And
That's
this
it.
other lady is telling her friend, look, I got goosebumps all over my body. And I was like, I have a superpower. I am touching everybody in this room without physically touching them. And I was like, I felt so powerful that day. But not everybody has that. So not everyone's going to experience that.
Facts.
And on stage, it's like, I feel like, I don't know, some people say like when they travel and they're up on an airplane, they feel closer to God. I don't know what it is. I get so like spiritual and pray when I'm on stage. Like it's just a place of gratitude and of just
It says
thank you to the Lord.
Listen, we
'Cause
were
I'm
in
like,
Puerto Rico together, and I seen you do your shit,
my God.
and we was over there, and you got the mic, and like you said, you can't fake this shit.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
true. We were.
yeah, we was in Puerto Rico. Like, bro, Apollo in Puerto Rico, my nigga.
How about that?
You heard she grabbed the mic, and everybody was like, yo, like they was stuck.
La placita.
They was
Chachi at La
stuck because she
placita.
did what she did. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, you gotta be there, my nigga. It's like you can't even, words can't explain what
Chachi,
we would.
you know what's
what I'm saying?
crazy? I don't even want to say outside looking in, right? Your energy speaks for itself. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's a Virgo trait or whatever, but I'm good at reading people's energy. Whoever comes across you should be able to read your whole energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I know whether it's you dancing or whether it's you singing, your energy is going to captivate whoever is in your presence.
And I think it goes beyond talent, to be honest with you.
Nah, talent ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
Listen,
But-
there's a difference between talent. We always say it on this show, right? You got motherfuckers that's talented, and you got motherfuckers that work. The motherfuckers that's talented be the lazy motherfuckers.
Yeah, sometimes.
The people that most of the times.
Yeah.
The people that work,
Hard work outbeats talent.
the
all
people
the time.
that work always gonna beat the people with talent. But you got both. And that's unheard of in this day and age. That's why you're relevant. That's why you're
Thank you.
identifiable
Thank you.
to people. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it makes sense. When he told me, yo, we got Chachi, we got who?
I need that introduction, bro.
Nah,
because
look,
the way you
look,
said
look,
that, I
look.
was like, bro,
Look.
whoa.
Hold on.
Who is he
hold
talking
on.
about?
Hold
Wait,
on.
me?
First of all,
I
that's-
loved it. It
that's-
was beautiful.
Listen, Creations by Lady J. That's who helps me with my monologue. She digs. She goes in a rabbit hole just like I do.
Beautiful.
But mind you, when we first met, I never said nothing to you. I don't even know if you remember or not. We was in Angie's barbecue.
Yeah.
I ain't say nothing to you because when I'm outside with him, I'm gonna fly on the wall. I don't say nothing. People think that I'm his security. I'm lying, bro.
Facts. Yeah.
Because that's who I am. Because I'm not. I don't care about none of this shit.
Right.
If it was me, I'll be behind the camera and let him get all the glory. I don't care about none of that shit. But I know that having you on our platform, you deserve everything.
Thank you.
I just started being on this shit. Like, I'm not even lying to you. And I felt your energy back then. I'm just not a dude to be like,
Yeah.
I'm serious. He'll tell you.
That's what's up.
Like, you're super dope.
Thank you.
It made sense. He was like, yo, we got I'm about to violate her whole shit.
He was like, I've been very patient and I've been very silent.
waiting for that
Now I have to
bitch.
talk my shit.
Nah, like for real.
Thank
The
you.
monologue, even though, like I said, Creation by Lady J, she made that happen. We both piggyback, yo, how's this? All right, yeah. Bro, what I told you, she gonna love this shit.
He was saying all that stuff, and I was like, I need this as an introduction to a show. That's how I was looking at it. Like, wait a
He's
minute.
got all types of. They want them on albums, intros for albums. This is what he do.
Listen,
Yeah, that's what he do.
you're dope.
Tell Lady J I appreciate
You're dope,
it.
sis.
Thank you.
Like, for real.
Thank you.
We got you here. And once again, thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
You're identifiable. You're going to relax.
It took some motherfucking time.
Because you get crazy. We're going to get you
And if
later.
she wasn't family,
I would have been like, forget her.
you know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Nancy, no, you would have been parked.
Yo, look, sis. We don't bring just anybody over here.
Thank you.
He said it. This is invite only. You know how many people be trying to come on the show, they be hitting me and I be like, yo, that's the person you need to talk to. Don't talk to me. Say it again,
Good luck.
sis.
Good luck.
Nah, like
Don't call me. I be loving when you be on your
don't do
Instagram.
that.
Don't call me. Don't text me. I'm at work. I will not be replying
All
to
the
your
way
messages.
good. All the way good.
Yeah.
But that's your camera.
I was talking to the camera.
That's your camera. You done? You good? Sure? Give your socials, your everything, what's going on, what's next for you. Like,
So guys, Grizel Del Valle, La Chachi. Instagram is at Chachi Nation. My TikTok is Grizel Del Valle. Like I mentioned before, it's Grizel Del Valle, okay? Because motherfuckers be like Grizzle, Manizzle, and that's not it. We're working on the second part of the album. So I decided to drop the album in two forms, side A and side B. Side A was the more mature side, the side that, was, I
less
say,
toxic.
no, it's still toxic because
No,
if you
give
really
us that
listen to that
pain.
lyric,
Give
if
us
you
that pain
if you
music.
really listen to that lyric and those lyrics, it's like it's toxic to stay in those situations. And that girl in half of those songs stood in that situation. So side B, we want to come with a more tropical side, a side that resonates with the dancer that I am, a side that, it's just when it comes to a little bit more urban, a little bit more dance, a little bit more pop, still true to who I am and to my essence. And we are working on some stuff. I have a couple of shows coming up in New York this year. Probably be part of the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York this year. That's coming up in June. I might be at Lima. I don't know when this airs.
it's going to air in about a month.
In about a month. All right, so I need y'all to go and buy these tickets to go see La India at Lehman Center, May 10th. And you might just get a little surprise that night. But yeah, we're working on this on this side of the project, and I'm super excited, and I'm not going to rush myself because like I said, it's quality over like quantity. And I want to make sure that I set the bar pretty high when my album debuted at #1 on the Latin charts on iTunes.
Talk your shit.
So I can't sit here and give you guys a crazy ass side B that doesn't stay up to par with what I already set for myself. So I am my biggest critic and my biggest competition, and yeah, I think I'm gonna be proud of what's coming.
Hey,
And that's it.
thank you for
And
pulling
thank you for
up.
having
If
it.
we do say
And
so
next time, make
ourselves.
sure I have my gold cup. You heard?
I got you.
If I do say
ain't even
so
drink.
myself.
You ain't even drink.
Okay. What you mean? I
You
drink.
ain't even drink.
I did.
That's
That's when I took that sip. That's when I opened Pandora's box, bro.
Okay.
We're gonna drop it there.
And
Peace
we
out.
out. Yeah, I already know.
Thanks for
what it
tuning
is.
in.
Chachi.
I was like, child, don't talk.